Hey guys, what's up? I'm IModernArts here, and this is the first episode of a new series I'm starting, and it's called Tips and Tricks, and what it is, it's a mini tutorial on how to do simple stuff in Cinema 4D, like not a whole project, but just like a mini aspect of how to use the program. So this first episode is how to use global illumination. And what global illumination is, it's pretty much a way that it casts shadows from everywhere in the screen with like mini lights or something like that, and it just makes a more realistic render. So first you're going to have these 4 hours and you're going to make a floor like that. You don't have to resize it because floors always cover the whole ground. Then you're going to add a text object or whatever you want. I like doing a text object, so I'd recommend you do a text object. And align it to the middle, which you should always do. For text, I'm going to type tips and tricks, but of course you can type whatever you want. So for font, I will use something nice and simple, like I'm going to choose BBoss. And I'm going to make the depth, let me just make the text a little bit bigger first, but I'm going to make the depth about, to do 100, but it doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be exact, just depends how you like it. And click on caps and start cap, fillet cap, end cap, fillet cap. And for the type, it doesn't really matter. I like using convex, concave, or one step, so I'm just going to keep it on the default setting. So you have your text. I guess we'll just add a simple material on it, just so it's a bit more interesting. So let's do a dark bluish purple with some luminance and a Fresnel reflection. You don't even need to add a material, but I'm just going to do it to make it more interesting and just drag that onto the text. And now what you're going to do, you're going to make your settings for global illumination. So for output, width 1280 by height 720, and that's what I use for all of my Cinema 4D projects. Frame range, all frames, because we're doing an animation. Save it as a QuickTime movie and choose a place to save it. I'm not going to actually save it or render it because it's just a tutorial. And you can click on Effect, first Ambient Occlusion, and then Global Illumination. So click on Global Illumination, I'm already under that. And for irradiance, whatever that word is, right here, first 2 boxes, click low. And that just makes it a quicker render, but if you want it to be a better render, but take longer, you can do high, but I find low works well. Ambient occlusion, put the contrast at 35%. You can play around with all these settings if you want, but I like leaving these the same and putting that at 35%. And that's pretty much it for how to use global illumination. And one thing I forgot, we need to add a light to the scene, or global illumination doesn't work, I'm pretty sure. So let's put it right there in the center, a little bit forward. And now let's try rendering it. It takes a long time, but it doesn't take as long since I have the low settings on. So you will see as it's rendering that it casts a shadow on the text and on the floor, and that looks pretty good, and I use that in a lot of my Cinema 4D projects now because it's good. So there we go, that's the final render, or it's about done, but you get the idea of global illumination. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been the first episode of Tips and Tricks on global illumination, and please subscribe to our channel if you find this tutorial helpful. Thank you, guys.